I don't know why you're smiling, buddy. That was awful. I tell you what, though. You jump out of a car on a traffic stop, you're likely going to get a gun pointed at you.
Yep. I vividly remember just staring at my gun like, why now? Why have you done this to me? Like,
you think you're pulling the trigger and nothing's happening.
Nothing happened. I had so many nightmares and nothing happening. I was like, cool. What is going on, Internet? This is Josh and Bill again with Only Cops. We are here to do another Officers React. We have gotten 2 videos into this, and now we're super invested.
Very good videos.
These are like really well produced. I was I don't know. I was like all ready to talk shit about it, and I was like, damn, these are pretty good.
Yep. Well, we're just like PTSD from Darman.
That's what it is, and we keep
this
doing
is actually
these.
Really good.
Producer Juan won't subject us to Darman anymore.
Don't talk about it. It's the name we don't say.
So this is, what was this channel called again?
Breaking Barriers is the channel, and this is going to be episode 3 of Switched, where police and civilians trade places.
3, 2, 1, action!
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, buddy, can I do back in the car, please?
In policing, no traffic stop is the same. Today we're going to find that out. How many times have we watched the news and we hear somebody say, it was just an average traffic stop? Sadly, my friends, that's not the reality. We're going to find that out today on this episode of Switch. As always, this episode of Switch, we're going to switch the roles between police officers and civilians and see how they respond. Our suspects will be our real police officers, and then the police officers in the scenarios will be our civilians. Let's go. So this is what we got. So you're going to be... This is the guy you're gonna encounter in the car. I'm just gonna give you that now. He's gonna be in the car. Okay. You're doing a traffic stop. So we're gonna simulate that those barrels right there are your police car, all right? Where the scene is gonna start. We're gonna assume that the car just yielded. Okay. So we're not gonna
shot that first. Fuck that. Where's my other video?
Yep.
And then that's when you gotta do what you gotta do. So walk up, be yourself. Hey sir, how you doing? Whatever you want to do, handle it as you would any other officer would. All right.
I hate that they don't get belts. This is such a lame way to have to try to draw a gun.
That is true.
I'm going to give that point to civilians. That's an unfair disadvantage you're at.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, buddy, can I do back in the car, please?
Whoop, little stutter.
My guy.
Don't stand there.
My guy.
So your hand behind your...
Please move.
Your back there. You want to show me your hands real quick?
Hey, bro.
Yeah. Whoa, oh, shoot. Back up. How do you back up? How do you back up? Back up.
Bro, this guy's over here doing tap rec drills on it.
Okay, I'm a man down.
Bro, lay down next to him. You're dead too, dude.
Yeah, you bent. Oh, don't.
Man, that was crazy. Like,
whoever's got to do maintenance on that gun is so pissed he kicked that in the dirt.
He just kicked it in the dirt. Because it's already messed up from the sim rounds going through it, and now it's full of dust and
Yeah, someone's mad about that.
Somebody's going to shoot him when he's not expecting it with one of those sim rounds.
I
don't know why you're smiling, buddy. That was awful.
That was pretty brutal. So, the first clue that you might be in danger is what we call a lack of compliance, right? So they were willing to stop the car, but they're not willing to get back in it, right?
Yeah.
And then you tried to tell them, hey, like, can you show me your hands?
Do you mind showing me your
super furtive movement of keeping it behind your back? After about the first 2 no complies, this is a clue that you're potentially in danger, right?
Yeah.
You know, cue the Ralphie meme or whatever.
I'm in danger. I'm in danger.
Again, there's a transition from the civilian mindset to a law enforcement mindset is that like, hey, this is someone that is so brazenly not afraid of me that he is willing to completely not listen to what I have to say, right? So let me take that as a clue that this person's either trying to get a rise out of me, at least at the very minimum, going to be confrontational, if not potentially dangerous. So let's treat it that way.
Also, he was pretty far away.
Yeah.
I give him a little bit of leeway on that.
Yeah, he didn't like walk up to him and try to put him back in the car or whatever. I totally get that.
No, I'm just saying if that was a true traffic stop, you parked way too far away.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying people won't leave their cars. It could be a perfectly innocuous situation where the guy just walks out of his car because he thinks that's what he's supposed to do.
I tell you what, though, you jump out of a car on a traffic stop, you're likely going to get a gun pointed at you.
Yep. Especially now. Probably is going to happen a lot more often. There's a lot of officers who have gotten shot in that situation. And again, getting a gun pointed at you and getting shot at are 2 very different things. Ask the people getting hit by ammunition rounds. It's a very different scenario. If this was a real police scenario, that's going to be where our criticism is that he's not getting compliance real early.
And the hand behind the back. Like,
that's pretty obvious.
You can't give a more like universal sign that, hey. You're about to have a bad day.
It is not hard to find a clip where he doesn't even get that much leeway. The car stops, the door swings open, and you're already getting shot at. Typically, the door getting swung opens, the red flag number 1.
Well, and they showed that video beforehand. That was almost exactly what happened.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. There's a reason why officers want compliance. You do not know the difference in between, you know, Susie Lou that ain't trying to do nothing, and you know the
Incel.
The you know the Vietnam vet that's got so much PTSD he's going to think that you're trying to kill him. So it's just you don't know, and so compliance is a way to lower the stress on the officer, but also minimize the amount of danger that you might be in from that officer. That's coming from a crusty old cop. So I do think that they were pretty fair in this scenario. They did give him an opportunity to potentially retreat a little bit in this. I would suggest the retreating portion of it.
Rather than just stand there like a statue.
Yes. Technically, those little barrels could have provided some level of cover for you, or at least concealment. And that's a much better place to get into a gunfight than out in the open. He has no training, so I can't criticize him for that. He's got a really good attitude for being shot a bunch.
Yeah.
So shout out to this guy.
Because you want to be like as chill as possible, but then you also want to like make sure that you're, you know, assuming all risks too. But it was yeah, man.
So what did you notice as soon as you got out of your car?
Well, he opened his car right away. So I'm just like, wait, so do I yell at the guy to get back in there? Because I don't want to sound, you know, too hostile, but I also want to be reasonable.
Don't want to sound too
Did it make you nervous?
It did. Just said, oh crap, what's gonna happen now? You know, because when he came out, he had his back to his back pockets. I'm already thinking the worst. Like, I don't want to assume, but
what was the worst? What's the worst for you?
Just
what was the cost of that?
Gun out on me.
Okay, well, why would you be thinking that in your mind though?
Well, because you know, when you just play video games or you see things on TV and movies, you just see the guy pull the gun out from his back area. So as soon as I saw that,
from Anchor Point,
my
my guy.
like, oh, crap, he has a gun probably.
Okay, so do you think that you were ahead of the game or behind the game? Because what did he do? He went on a full-on assault.
Yeah.
And from the looks of it, it looks like he had the upper hand on you because he actually got a few rounds off before you were able to pull your gun out and then actually respond to that.
Right. So,
if it was if it wasn't a sim gun.
Let me ask you this. So if you had to redo that scenario, let's say we had the luxury of looking at it from the outside looking in.
Right.
If you had the luxury, how would you do it differently? If any way, would you do it differently?
Probably engage him a lot faster than, you know, me being a little bit reluctant, you know, me trying to think of the scenario, and I think that's what I was doing, was trying to really just rationalize it as opposed to just reacting.
Would it have been wrong if you had just got out of your car with your gun out already, with the moment you saw him get out of the car?
I don't think so, because, I mean, now, like, in hindsight, he was coming at me and he was without any kind of, you know,
It's a mix-up there. There's a lot of mitigating factors for that. If you're not stopping for a felony and they're not committing a felony, you're going to have a real hard time justifying that use of force. If you're wrong. If you're right, high five to you because you're right. I'm not saying don't.
Or you're just smart enough to get it out of your holster.
And that's where I was getting at. I was like, look, I'm not saying...
Not saying you got to point it at him.
Yeah, I'm just saying you put yourself in a slightly more safe position, or at least put yourself less behind the starting point of this race that is going to be a race for your life. A lot of people gave us a lot of grief when we did a breakdown of an officer that pulled his gun out and put it behind his leg while approaching a car.
Not a huge fan of that.
And I'm not. But, like I said, the reason why you see things like that is because they are seeing something that's making them nervous. Can you see things that aren't there? Sure. Can you react to something incorrectly? Sure. But that is the game that you have to play when you decide that you want to be a police officer. Guess what? You live on the X. Mm-hmm. So, shout out to him acknowledging that, hey, maybe it would have made more sense that this guy was giving me indicators that... But it's what pre-attack cues are. It's what they teach in a lot of use of force schools, is to look for pre-attack cues. He gave a lot of those. Really and truly, until you see a gun, it's very hard to justify pointing one or some sort of weapon. But if you say, hey, get in your car, hey, I want to see your hands. If you don't show me your hands, I'm going to point a gun at you. At least you've covered yourself. Yep. And if you do end up doing it, and then you're trying to justify that use of force in the back end. So that happens a lot, especially when you work in not fun places. We'll keep going.
Regard was just starting to...
So you said something that's critical. You said hindsight.
Right.
Hindsight is like, well, absolutely, I'm going to get out with a gun.
Right.
But what's crazy is we don't have the luxury, but a lot of people don't have the luxury, or you don't have the luxury as that officer of hindsight.
Right.
And so what typically happen is you will get out of your car with your gun out, And what's everybody else going to be doing? Why does he have his gun out on a guy that's just standing there talking to him?
Exactly.
Is that pretty much how it will go?
That's exactly how it will go. Yeah.
Mason, did you feel like did he give it just what would you say from your perspective?
Just obviously being an officer, the first thing I thought when I got out the car, with me knowing the scenario, I'm like, this boy better back up. He ain't moving. All he doing is just trying to talk to me, but he doesn't know what I have behind my back, right?
Yeah, right.
So kind of how you stated to him, it's not wrong to pull your gun out immediately right when you get out that car, because you're dealing with the unknown at this point. That is something that typically a person do not do, is get out their car and put their hands behind their back.
Right.
And pull them over.
So here's the big reveal, everybody. The big reveal is this scenario, Ivan, I don't know if you know this, but this scenario actually happened in the state of Oregon, where an Oregon State trooper did a traffic stop on an individual for a vehicle code violation. And as he does that traffic stop, as soon as he pulls over, the guy gets out just like Officer Mason did right here and has his hand behind his back. And then he goes on the full-on assault on the officer, and now the officer has to handle that situation the best of his ability.
Right.
One thing that I noticed that you didn't do, you didn't use your cover.
I did not. Yeah, you
He was just moving around.
So you were moving around here. Do you think that might be something that an officer might have to keep in their mind?
Absolutely. Right.
Because
yeah,
you're in a gun fight. You're in a gun battle. So
and it's crazy too, because you even said, hey, just use that as your vehicle for whatever you may need. And I didn't know that was a foreshadow of, hey, yeah, you may want to use that thing back there for protection.
Isn't it crazy how many things that you have to think about in such a short amount of time?
Right.
And so the reality of that situation.
And I'll say this, it gets a lot easier when you do a lot of these. Like when you do it's your 100th traffic stop or your 1000th traffic stop.
Even if you watch a lot of this stuff.
Sure, it gets easier.
You get a little bit more aware.
You have your script, you had your PC for the stop, you already, it's literally just a script that's leaving your mouth at that point. So you have more brain power to kind of look at how you're approaching this. It's why tactics are taught. You're not going to approach your car that's acting like that, because I'm going to try to stay as close to something friendly. Also, I'm also worried about this guy getting back in his car and driving off, right? So why am I going to run 10 feet away from my car just to have to run back and get in the car and get into a pursuit? There's a couple of different ways you can approach the cars. Having a second officer really helps in the situation. There's just a lot that can go into that stuff. He didn't have any of that training, so you can't really hold that against him, but it does show you how complicated these situations are and why we're always constantly stressing officers should get more training, and it's this type of training, scenario-based training, but this is expensive.
Yeah.
That whole simunition setup's thousands and thousands of dollars on guns that don't do what guns normally supposed to do, and that shoot bullets. And you'll notice they also are very poor. I had PTSD. Legit.
I think he was doing that to simulate the video, because in the video the guy had to reload and.
Oh, maybe you're right. Yeah,
some of it was probably the simunition round.
I tell you
gunking up the gun, but then as you watch the video, you see the guy in the video have to reload and do that. So
I had nightmares in Academy after having to do simunitions that my gun was not going to work.
Most of the time they didn't.
Yeah. It was, oh man, it was so shitty.
That's a legit training scar.
Yeah. Oof.
You think you're pulling the trigger and nothing happening.
Happened. I had so many nightmares of nothing happening. I was like, cool. And what was worse too is you got this SWAT butthole just sitting there just absolutely drilling you. Yeah. And I vividly remember just staring at my gun like, why now? Why have you done this to me?
See, Josh talks to weapons too.
Yeah, so there it is. Delusions.
Now? Why now?
Amount of time.
Right.
And so the reality of that situation was that officer, that state trooper, was able to return fire on that suspect.
Right.
And the suspect drove away. He ended up passing away miles down the road after it. But this was a real life scenario. So as crazy as it may seem, because I know you're probably thinking like, man, what is he doing just getting out of the car like that?
That's exactly what I thought.
This happens to our officers.
I said this before on some of the other ones. It's a little unfair because they don't have the training / experience to deal with these, and police officers do or should have these things. But I think it's a really valuable, gives really valuable insight to how difficult the job and how stressful really the job can be and is to people, and specifically to officers that are asked to go work in places where you're more likely to run into people that want to hurt you or don't like the police or whatever.
It's true.
I don't know. Take some pity on your local police officer, because this is sometimes their daily reality. If you guys like this type of content and want to see more of it, go ahead and put that in the comment section below. Go ahead and like this video and share it with other people that you think might be interested in law enforcement or want to learn a thing or two. If you guys are really interested in this type of content, you can join us twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30 Central Standard Time, where we do lives where we either play video games, sometimes that are law enforcement related, or do body-worn camera breakdowns of actual law enforcement encounters and kind of give you guys some insights. And if you guys are super into this channel and want to get more involved, you can join our Patreon group, which is as little as $1 a month. That gives you access to our Discord, which is how we discuss and decide on all of this stuff. Get 24-hour trolling access to the three of us here and then everybody else that's in there. So thank you guys for riding 2 Man with us today. And until next time.